If your legs are getting weaker, you lose your balance easily, or you feel like you're losing stability while walking. The problem may not be in your legs, it may be in your brain. Few people know this, but after age 60, the brain begins to lose its ability to control the lower muscles, and that's why so many seniors fall without warning. Studies from Columbia University show that this communication failure between the brain and the legs is one of the leading causes of falls and loss of independence in old age. But here comes the shock. There are 5 hidden saboteurs in your daily routine that speed up this process, and one of them is a seemingly healthy fruit that might be in your house right now. And yes, it's the worst of all. In this video, I'm going to reveal these 5 invisible enemies: a common medication, a routine habit, a nutritional deficiency, a processed food, and this dangerous fruit. Stay with me until the end, because this last tip may be directly related to your safety, your strength, and your autonomy. And the best part, you can start protecting yourself today. And if you're not subscribed yet, do it now. That way, you make sure you never miss information like this, which can keep your body strong, your mind sharp, and your independence for much longer. Now, get ready. The first saboteur might already be in your body right now, and you haven't even noticed. First, the silent medication that shuts down your nerves. Imagine taking a pill every day, believing you're doing the right thing, while it's silently sabotaging the communication between your brain and your legs. Sounds exaggerated? Unfortunately, it's not. One of the most used medications after age 60, especially to control anxiety, insomnia, or chronic pain, is benzodiazepines. Valium, clonazepam, lorazepam, diazepam. Have you heard these names? You might even have one of them in your cabinet. These drugs act on the central nervous system, decreasing brain activity to promote relaxation. The problem: by doing this repeatedly, they also reduce the brain's ability to send fast and precise signals to the muscles, especially those in the legs. In other words, the pill you take to sleep or relax may be cutting the invisible wires that control your balance and your steps. Researchers at Harvard Medical School warned the continuous use of benzodiazepines in the elderly is strongly linked to the risk of falls, muscle weakness, and even mental confusion. And the most alarming part, even at doses considered safe, the effects build up over time. But what few people mention is why this happens. These drugs interfere with the production and uptake of neurotransmitters, essential for motor coordination like GABA. Without these at adequate levels, the brain fails to deliver quick commands to the body. The result is slow reflexes, wobbly legs, and a feeling of instability that intensifies over time. And the saddest part is that many seniors think this weakness is just part of aging, without realizing the cause may be the pill they take every night. But wait, I'm not saying you should stop taking your medication on your own. Never do that. The recommendation here is to talk to your doctor. Ask if the medication you're using might be contributing to this weakness. There are safer alternatives, including natural ones that can help without robbing you of your autonomy. Meanwhile, there's something you can do right now to strengthen this brain-leg connection. Take care of your mitochondrial energy. Yes, those tiny power plants inside your cells. Because when they're strong, your muscles respond better, even under the influence of medication. And that brings us to the next saboteur, which attacks the very foundation of your strength, a daily habit that many people think is healthy, but that may be draining the energy from your legs without you realizing it. Second, the morning habit that shuts down your muscle batteries. You wake up, get ready for the day, and drink a nice glass of fruit juice, eat some breakfast cereal, or grab an energy bar, thinking you're taking care of your body. But what if I told you that this common habit might be draining the energy from your legs in the very first hours of the day? Most people over 60 don't know this, but a breakfast rich in simple sugars and refined carbohydrates is one of the main saboteurs of muscle strength, especially when the brain is already beginning to lose efficiency with age. Here's how it works. When you consume these foods, your blood sugar spikes quickly. In response, the pancreas releases large amounts of insulin to normalize those levels. The problem is that this spike and the sharp drop that follows causes a sort of metabolic blackout. It's like starting your car engine and flooring the gas, only to shut the car off seconds later. The result? Muscles are left without energy, the brain loses rhythm, and you start the day slower, with slower reflexes and that feeling of fatigue in your legs. This directly affects neuromuscular communication, the very connection you need to get up, walk steadily, and avoid tripping. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that older adults with high glycemic loads in the morning perform worse in balance and mobility tests. And there's more. Frequent exposure to this type of dietary pattern is linked to increased inflammation in the nervous system, impairing the transmission of impulses from the brain to the muscles. So what's the alternative? Foods that release energy slowly and steadily. A simple combination like rolled oats, boiled eggs, or a smoothie with plant-based protein can stabilize your metabolism and preserve muscle strength throughout the day. And believe me, even your mind will thank you. Most people think they need something sweet in the morning to get energy, but the truth is the opposite. It's the sweet stuff that's draining your internal batteries. If you've ever felt tired right after breakfast or noticed your legs feeling weak throughout the day, maybe the problem isn't your age, but what you're eating before 9 a.m., and the next saboteur may be even more dangerous because it doesn't come from food or medication. It comes from something that's missing in your body, a deficiency that most seniors ignore. But that may be the key to either strengthening or completely losing control over your own steps. Third, the invisible deficiency that steals the strength from your legs. There's a deficiency that may be silently advancing in your body, and you might have no idea of the impact it has on your leg strength, your balance, and even your ability to react to a simple stumble. I'm talking about a lack of vitamin B12, B12 is an essential vitamin for the proper functioning of the central nervous system. It's involved in the formation of the myelin sheath, a kind of protective coating that surrounds the nerves and ensures that signals sent from the brain reach the muscles quickly. Without it, it's as if your body's electrical wires begin to lose their insulation, causing delays, failures, and eventually short circuits. That's why people with B12 deficiency often feel tingling, muscle weakness, difficulty walking in a straight line, and even memory lapses. Motor coordination becomes impaired, and the body seems not to obey mental commands with the same precision as before. The most concerning part, studies show that up to 20% of seniors have a B12 deficiency, even those who eat relatively well. This happens because, over the years, the stomach produces less gastric acid, a substance essential for absorbing B12 from food. In other words, the problem isn't necessarily a lack of intake, but the difficulty in absorbing what you eat. Foods rich in B12 include lean meats, eggs, dairy products, and fish like sardines and salmon. But for many seniors, even a balanced diet is not enough. That's why many doctors recommend sublingual or injectable B12 supplementation after the age of 60, especially if you're experiencing symptoms like constant fatigue, instability while walking, or mild mental confusion. Another important detail, long-term use of medications like omeprazole and similar drugs can worsen the deficiency even further, since they reduce the stomach acid needed for proper vitamin absorption. Want a practical way to investigate this? Talk to your doctor about a methylmalonic acid test. It's more sensitive than the traditional B12 blood test and can detect deficiencies that usually go unnoticed. And if supplementation is needed, choose highly absorbable forms like methylcobalamin instead of the common cyanocobalamin. The ideal dose for seniors may vary, but many experts recommend between 1,000 and 5,000 mcg per week, depending on the level of deficiency. Now maybe you're thinking, but I don't have those symptoms. That's exactly where the danger lies. B12 deficiency is sneaky. It settles in gradually. The body slowly adapts to the loss of neuromuscular performance, and by the time you notice, you're already walking with insecurity, tripping more than usual, or even experiencing numbness in your legs. The good news is that once corrected, many seniors report improvements not only in leg strength, but also in mental energy, motivation, and even sleep quality. It's like reconnecting the body's internal circuits. Now imagine combining that benefit with the next element we're going to explore. Because if B12 deficiency cuts off communication between brain and muscles, the next saboteur acts as a signal blocker, and it's found in many foods that promise convenience and health, but pose a hidden risk for those over 60. Fourth, the modern butter that melts your brain. Reach into the cupboard for that tub of light margarine with a gold seal that says it's cholesterol-free. Spread it generously on your toast and think you're making a healthy choice. But what seems like an innocent gesture could be sabotaging the communication between your brain and your legs. Margarine and ultra-processed vegetable spreads are bestsellers among people over 50. Because they claim to protect against cardiovascular disease. The problem is that these products, contrary to popular belief, may be silently fueling a process of neurodegeneration. These modern butters are made from refined vegetable oils like soybean, canola, corn, and sunflower. To turn those oils into a solid spread, they undergo a chemical process called hydrogenation. That's where industrial trans fats are born, and even in small amounts, they have devastating effects on the brain, especially the aging brain. Studies from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health show that trans fats are associated with brain shrinkage, memory decline, coordination issues, and especially delayed motor response. In other words, they don't just impair your mind, they also slow your reaction time and reduce your walking stability. To make matters worse, these substances inflame the brain's blood vessels, hinder the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to motor neurons, and interfere directly with the production of neurotransmitters essential for brain-to-leg communication. And that has a direct consequence in your daily life. When you feel like you're becoming more unstable, catch yourself losing balance when turning quickly, or hesitate before going downstairs, that might not be just aging. It could be the cumulative effect of these lipid toxins on your nervous system. Now comes the most important warning. Researchers at Harvard have identified a group of substances called brain-sucking toxins, compounds that accumulate in processed foods and silently destroy synapses, drain your memory, and cause failures in muscle command. It is estimated that more than 200 million Americans are suffering the effects without even knowing it. These toxins rob you not only of your mental clarity, but of your autonomy. They are sneaky. They don't cause pain. They leave no marks. But suddenly you're leaning on chairs, avoiding going out alone, or feeling like something is off in how your body responds. If you feel like your mind is slower, your body less stable, and even with a good diet and exercise, you're still losing strength, you may be unknowingly intoxicated. There is an important resource that explains exactly how these toxins affect your brain and how you can neutralize them naturally without needing medications or crazy diets. It's in the link I pinned in the comments. And if you take your memory and mobility seriously, this is information you cannot ignore. And now we come to the last saboteur, a natural fruit, colorful, seemingly healthy one that many people consume daily, thinking they're doing the best for their body. But the truth is that after age 60, this fruit may accelerate the loss of connection between the brain and lower limbs. Fifth, the fruit that never existed and is sabotaging your legs. Every day you see on the label an image of a juicy strawberry, a fresh apple, or a handful of grapes. The product name is something like Fruit Delights, Natural Fruit Bar, 100% fruit, flavor juice, or fruit mix with whole grains. Sounds healthy, right? But here's the harsh truth. That fruit probably was never there. The food industry has specialized in creating products that look healthy, that exploit the visual and emotional appeal of fruits. But inside, they're loaded with refined sugar, artificial coloring, synthetic flavoring, and modified starches. The consumer sees apple or strawberry on the packaging and believes they're making a good choice. But what they're actually consuming is a chemical cocktail that tricks the palate and intoxicates the brain. These fruit-based foods are very common among seniors who want to snack on something light between meals. Fruit candies, bars filled with berry jam, boxed or bottled juices, colorful cereals with banana chunks, flavored yogurts. All of these give a sense of health, but are satisfying more than they are nourishing. And why is this so serious for people over 60? Because these products induce the brain to process false taste and smell stimuli, releasing dopamine as if you were eating a real fruit, but without providing any of the actual nutrients the fruit should have. Over time, this leads to neurochemical imbalance, affects the gut-brain axis, and directly harms muscle communication. Stanford University published a review in 2022 showing that chronic consumption of artificial flavorings and colorings is associated with changes in brain regions involved in motor, coordination, and reaction time. That means that fake grape candy could be affecting your balance more than you realize. Moreover, these products dramatically raise blood sugar and inflamed blood vessels, causing brain microlesions that interfere with motor impulses. The brain starts to react with delay. Muscles receive distorted signals, and your legs begin to fail. And if you're wondering why this kind of product continues to be sold freely, even though it harms health, the answer is simple: marketing. The law allows companies to use images of fruit, even if the product contains only traces of dehydrated pulp or synthetic flavoring that resembles the real thing. Just one drop of artificial strawberry extract is enough for the packaging to show a giant, smiling strawberry, and most people believe it. But you no longer need to fall into this trap. Here are a few warning signs to help you identify a fake fruit product. The label uses the word flavor, for example, strawberry flavor, instead of listing the actual fruit as an ingredient. The ingredients list includes colorings like red 40, yellow tartrazine, and artificial flavorings. The fruit appears at the end of the ingredients list or isn't present at all. The product has an intense and uniform color, something real fruit rarely produces. There's added glucose, syrup, fructose, or maltodextrin as a base. Now think with me. If your brain is trying to control your legs, but it's inflamed, intoxicated, and fooled by artificial stimuli, how can you expect it to function as it used to? Worse, if you consume these products almost every day, believing you're taking care of yourself, unaware that you're draining your ability to walk steadily. This may be costing you your independence, and before you think you have to give everything up, you don't need. There are real foods, practical and natural options that don't trick the brain, but for that, you need the right information, and that's why I left a special resource pinned in the comments. It explains why so many seniors are experiencing cognitive failures and muscle control loss without any clear diagnosis, and how this can be reversed with simple, effective actions. Click to watch. That's one of the most important insights you can gain to protect your brain and your body. Now that we've revealed the fifth saboteur, you may be wondering, but what if I've been eating these things for years? Is it still possible to change? The answer is yes, and the next section will show you how to start rebuilding the strength in your legs and reactivating the connection with your brain through small, practical, and accessible changes. If you've made it this far, you already understand that leg weakness can begin long before pain appears, and worse, it may not even come from your legs. But the good news is that there are real, accessible ways to rebuild this brain-body connection. It all starts with the right fuel. One of the first things your doctor should check is a vitamin B12 deficiency. It's essential for the brain to send clear signals to the muscles, and many seniors have a deficiency without knowing it. The correct form and proper dosage can make a difference in a short time. And yes, many patients report improvements in balance, focus, and overall energy when it's corrected. Another powerful change is what goes on your plate, and we're not talking about living off of lettuce. We're talking about dropping the disguises. Swap industrial margarine for extra virgin olive oil, fake healthy cereals for real eggs, and packaged fruit for real fruit, the kind that grows in the ground, not in a lab. Swaps that change everything on the inside, especially in your brain. Now, if you're already waking up with weak legs or feel unsteady going downstairs, you may need to reassess what you're eating in the first hours of the day. Sugar and refined carbs create a spike of energy that quickly crashes, and it's during that crash that many people feel drained. A more stable breakfast, with protein, healthy fats, and fiber, sustains the body and mind throughout the day. And don't think you need a gym. Your brain wants stimulation, not weightlifting. A simple balance exercise done standing against a wall, or a mindful walk paying attention to how your foot moves. That's enough to activate brain areas that had fallen asleep. But none of this will help if you keep accumulating invisible toxins that drain the vitality of your brain. Most people ignore this until they realize their mind is slower and their legs feel less stable. That's why, if you haven't clicked the link I left in the comments yet, do it now, because that's where the explanation is that can change everything. You'll understand how to protect your mind, your memory, and most importantly, your independence. And the best part, with a simple, discreet, and accessible step. Now tell me, out of all the changes we talked about today, which one do you find the hardest to apply in your daily routine? Write it down in the comments, because we all want to help you get through it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now is the time. That way, you make sure this kind of knowledge keeps reaching you and other people who, just like you, don't have easy access to doctors, books, or scientific studies. And before you go, there's something important. Did you know that many of the foods that seem perfect to start your day may actually be overloading your brain in the very first hours of the morning? There's another video here on the channel that reveals exactly that, and it completes what you learned today in a way you can't afford to miss. If you want to preserve your strength and your mental clarity, this next piece of information is essential.